Hello and welcome to Inner Circle TV, the August episode.
Hello, hi, thanks for joining us.
And this time we're going to talk about how to unlock your phone. And what I mean by that is when you first turn it on, each time, when it's gone into sleep mode, sometimes you have to do something to tell it that it's you, so that it knows it's not just someone random who's picked up your phone before it'll let you do anything. So, for example, on some phones, let me just show you on this one, which is mine, that I've set up. If I just press this button to wake it up, you can see at the bottom there it says something like swipe to unlock, and if I just do that, it's now unlocked and I can go ahead and make a phone call, read my texts, or do whatever I want on it. That used to be how you'd unlock a phone or tablet a lot of the time. But it's not a good idea generally because anyone could do that. If I was sat in a cafe and maybe I got distracted, someone else could pick up my phone, swipe it and start accessing all my texts or doing whatever they wanted with it. And if I've used it to buy things, maybe they could even visit Amazon and buy things for themselves on there. So most phones have something set up so that it's locked in some way and only you can unlock it. And this used to be really simple. It would usually only be that you had to type in a number, a PIN. But now there are lots of different ways of doing it, so we thought it would be useful to show you the different ways so you can understand how they work and pick which one's best for you. So we'll start with the simplest, which is the PIN. That's where you type in a number, but we're actually going to cut briefly because I need to set it up on my phone so that I can show you, because I just had to turn it off so that I could show you how to unlock it just by swiping on the screen. So we will be back with you in a moment. So I'm back again and I've set up a PIN on my phone so I can demonstrate it to you. So if I just show you my phone screen, I press the button to wake it up. I'm hiding Mike there, so I'll just move it to the side so you can see him. You don't want to miss out on seeing it. Now the PIN I've set up on this is just 1234. That isn't one I'd recommend for use in real life because it's one of the first things that anyone who stole your phone would guess at. But I thought it was an easy one to demonstrate to you. So this is going to be slightly fiddly because I'm holding it facing away from me, but we'll see if I can do it. So I type in 1, 2, 3, 4, and on this one I have to tap OK as well, and there you go, you can see that's unlocked it. If I'd got that number wrong, it wouldn't have unlocked, so if I was a crook and didn't know that PIN, I wouldn't be able to get into this phone. As I said, choosing 1, 2, 3, 4 in real life would be a really bad idea because that's the first thing they will try. But it was a good one to demonstrate. You should choose something that's a bit less obvious. And it is really important to have something like this set up on your phone so that it's protected, so that someone who's stolen your phone couldn't just get in. Even if you don't think there's anything particularly important on your phone, you might not have anything particularly sensitive, but as an example, they might be able to get in and make lots of phone calls to expensive phone numbers that are numbers they've set up that mean the money gets paid to them. Run up a big bill, potentially even thousands of pounds on your contract. So it's definitely a good idea, isn't it, to have something like this?
It is. I think it's very important to have something, even if it's just a simple like code, not 1, 2, 3, 4 though, as we've discussed, but some kind of code that's meaningful to you. And you feel free to write it down and just don't keep that bit of paper with your phone.
With your phone, obviously, so anyone who manages to steal your phone.
Yeah, and I think it's just about protecting you. And if somebody did run up thousands of pounds on your phone contract and you had these security things in place, it's a lot easier to go along and say, look, I did have security in place, like this shouldn't have happened. So you can contact your phone company then and you'd have a better argument, and it's much less likely to happen in the first place. So that's how you use a PIN, or a personal identification number it stands for. You can also set up a password where you type in a word and maybe some numbers with it, which works in almost exactly the same way. It is a bit more fiddly to use because on a phone, certainly on a phone this size, typing in a word is more fiddly because the keyboard has to fit on the screen. So I tend to prefer a PIN to a password. But there are lots of other ways of doing it, and the other way that's particularly popular is to draw a set of symbols on a grid. Absolutely.
Which Mike is now going to demonstrate.
So I've set this up again. I've set this up on my phone, and it's not my real unlock thing. So complicatedly, I'm just going to put my finger over the camera because we'll come back to that later. So you can see on here I get a set of grid. Actually, I can probably take that off now. A set of grid dots, and the way it works is you preset up a pattern. So you can see I've drawn a pattern here. I don't know if you can quite see past my finger, but it's a pattern, and then it unlocks. So it's fairly easy. I would say it's easier than a pin number because you're just drawing a pattern.
You don't have to take your finger off the screen, so people find it quicker to
Yeah.
just tap and then move your finger rather than having to type in a number.
And that's it. So you can see like once you kind of activate the dots, it is just I don't know whether this will work a second time because I can't see it very well, but you've just sort of drawn a pattern, and again it requires that you use like a minimum number of dots.
So you can't do it just with 2 dots.
You can't just yeah. And that works pretty well. It's classed as like medium security, so it's not like I suspect if you work in some industries they won't allow you to use that, but I think for home use
It's
okay.
quite good. It's not as good as having a really complicated pin, but it is much easier to use. So that's the next way, and that is a particularly popular way. I see a lot of people using that as a way to keep their phone secure. But there are some much fancier ways. So far those are fairly straightforward. You type in a number or you draw a pattern on a grid. But there are some much fancier and cleverer ways to unlock your phone, which we're going to come on to now. So I think the next one we'll do is using a thumbprint or fingerprint.
Yeah.
Now, neither of us have a phone that's up to date enough to have this on it, so we can't demonstrate it to you on our phones, but we've got a tablet here, an iPad in fact, that does have it on, so we'll demonstrate it on a tablet instead of a phone.
I've been and raided the cupboard where we keep
all the modern
all
technology.
it's normally kept away from us. But yeah, so this is an iPad. I'm not sure which, but it's quite new, isn't it? It's
a new one.
A newer one. But I think some of the older ones have Touch ID is what Apple call it, but fingerprint recognition. I can't remember what Android call it.
I don't know, but it's the same kind of thing.
The same thing. And the way this works is, and you can sort of see a reflection of us in there, so that's nice, isn't it? Is I've set up my fingerprint there to it's activated Siri. So there we go. I've just tapped to wake it up, and it's brought us to the home page. It brought up Siri because I was tapping and holding instead of just tapping.
But if we demonstrate, if you can turn that off again, Mike.
Yep.
If I take it and put my finger on it, it won't work because we haven't set up. Eventually, it's just brought us up to the pin screen because we haven't set up my fingerprint in the iPad, so it doesn't know my fingerprint and won't unlock. So it'll only unlock that way for Mike.
It will, yeah, and you can add multiple fingers to it. I could have added Tim to it, or any number of people,
and then either of us could have unlocked it, or you could even use a fingerprint on either hand, so it doesn't matter which hand you're holding it in. And obviously, that's a much more complicated way. It is really pretty secure because, as you probably know, no two people have the same fingerprint. But it's a very quick way, so you don't have to bother fiddling about tapping in a number or drawing on the screen. You just touch it with your thumb or your finger, and that's it, it's unlocked. So that can be a really good way of doing it.
And so I've set up a few different fingers on each hand, so depending on what you're holding or whether you've depending on how you're holding it, depends on which finger you want to unlock it with. So I think it's worth adding a couple of things, and you can see there was the backup pin code came up. So if you're sharing it, if you want to let somebody log in who doesn't have the fingerprint ID, you can give them the pin code instead.
As worth saying, with any of these fancier methods, you'll also have the pin set up, and please do make sure you still know what that is. Because if for any reason you can't use the fancier method, then you want to be able to still get into it. As a good example, my wife Julie has this set up on her phone, so she uses her thumbprint to unlock it, and she's got my thumbprint set up on it as well, so I can unlock her phone if I need to. And a while back we were both working in the garden doing various bits and pieces, and because we were doing some quite rough things out there, both of us, the thumbprint wore away a bit on our thumbs, and neither of us could unlock her phone by touching it because the thumbprint just wasn't there anymore for a day or two. Luckily, of course, she knew the pin, so she could get in that way. But if she hadn't made sure she'd known it, she wouldn't have been able to get into the phone until her thumbprint had grown back. So do make sure you know the PIN as well.
And do you think it's okay to write down the PIN somewhere and kind of store it?
As long as you keep it somewhere safe and don't write in big letters, my phone PIN on it. But as long as you keep it somewhere safe, then I think that's fine. What some people do is use someone's phone number as the PIN, the phone number of someone that they know, and that can help. Or you could even write it down as a phone number in your phone book, if you've got a paper phone book, for someone that you don't actually know. Just make up a name and write down the phone number, and it's not really a phone number, it's the PIN that you've made up for your device. So that's a good way to keep it. But with any of these fancier ways, make sure you know the PIN as well. So that was thumbprint. Another example I'm about to show you is using voice. So your phone can actually recognise your voice. It really feels like we're getting into Star Trek stuff.
The chances of this working is...
It worked every time we tried it before we were recording, but now we're recording, we'll see. But again, you can imagine if you've got a really bad cold, maybe your phone wouldn't recognise your voice anymore, so you need to have the PIN there as a backup. So we'll see. I've got this set up on my phone. We'll see if this works. So first of all, I need to press the button to wake it up. But you can see it's in that lock screen. I could type in that PIN, the same as I showed you earlier, but I could also say, OK, Google, what time is it in Botswana?
The time in Botswana is 1:10 p.m.
I've no idea whether it got it right or not, but I'm guessing it did. But it certainly worked. So just by recognising my voice. But if, for example, if I just turn it off again, and if you want to try, Mike.
OK, Google. What time is it?
So I don't know if you can read it there, but it's saying it can't do that without being unlocked first, and it's asking me to type in the PIN. Because it recognised my voice, and my voice will unlock it, but it won't unlock for Mike's voice.
So will it let you, say, open an app by voice? So if you're driving and your phone's on the side, could you say, like, OK, Google, open Maps?
So, yeah, if I'm driving with it in the car, I could say, tell it to open Maps, or I could tell it to start playing some music if I wanted, without having to actually touch the phone. So that's obviously quite useful if you're wanting to do something like that. We actually find it useful, although if I'm going on a long journey, chances are Julie will be there as well. She gets car sick, and she finds if she's using a phone in the car, even to bring up the maps, to use it as a sat-nav, or to put some music on, that can make her feel sick. But all she has to do is pick the phone up and hold it somewhere near me if I'm driving, and I can still talk to it without having to stop and be able to take my hands off the wheel. So that can be quite useful. So voice is another good way. As I said before, make sure you know the PIN in case you lose your voice or you have a bad cold or something. But you can see that it's learnt my voice. It works for me, but it wouldn't work for someone else. So no one else would be able to unlock my phone that way. The next one I think is possibly even cleverer. So this is face recognition, which Mike's going to demonstrate.
So again, I've just tried this a few minutes ago, and this is a bit dark in here, so we're going to give it a try and see if it recognises me. So this is face recognition. So a bit like the voice, you kind of go through a setup, and you take a picture of your face at different angles, and it kind of knows that it's you. So again, we're going to wake it up, and you can see, if you can see exactly down here, there's a little sort of lock icon. And it kind of changed a second there. It kind of goes from like a little square to a padlock symbol. And what that's doing is it's activating the camera in the top corner. So in theory, if I sit sort of slide on and look at it, I don't know whether you'll be able to see this. So it's changed now to an unlock symbol. I didn't swipe it quick enough. So I look at it, the lock symbol changes. Oh, it's because it failed. So this is one of the things where you need to know your passcode or your pattern to unlock it. Because if it fails on one of these fancier ones once, then it won't work again until you've unlocked your device.
Using a different way.
So I'm not sure that makes perfect sense.
So this is the same with mine, with voice, that if if say Mike tried to unlock my phone with voice, it'll only give him one go. After that, if it fails, you have to unlock it in a different way by typing in the PIN or something. That's so that, for example, if someone is just very good at mimicking voices, they can't have 8 goes at it and finally get it close enough to unlock it. So it is still really important to know the PIN as well, but this is a more convenient way to unlock it for most of the time. Then if it doesn't work, you can go back to using the PIN.
So we're going to give this another try now that I've unlocked it. So I've just activated it. It's looking at me, and the symbol's changed, and it's unlocked. So you can see I only touched the screen there to drag the lock up. Turns out you have to do that while you're looking at it.
Right.
So if I turn it to show you, it'll just lock it again.
That's presumably deliberate, so that if you're looking at your phone and then someone grabs it and runs for it, they can't then swipe up to unlock it because it's stopped looking at you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just by looking at it and it being you, that's enough to unlock it. And similarly, if I picked up Mike's phone and looked at it, it wouldn't unlock for me because I don't look like him.
That's true.
So that's another way that's quite convenient to use. It can save you a bit of time rather than having to tap, and it's just less fiddly. So I think all of those are good alternatives if you want something that's a bit less fiddly. I suppose from a security point of view, they're perhaps not quite as secure as a PIN, particularly the voice recognition. If someone recorded me saying the right phrase and then used that recording, they could maybe use that to unlock my phone. It would have to be a pretty good quality recording because it has to sound exactly like me, and you only get that one go before it locks and says, no, you have to use the PIN. So it's pretty good security, not quite as good as just using a complicated PIN.
Yeah, and I think for kind of day-to-day use, they're all pretty good. So we haven't gone into sort of how to set each one up, because on each type of device, they're all different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think just come and ask us if you're interested in these.
Yeah, so you can always ask on the club room, tell us which device you have. But what we really wanted to do was show you how they all work, so you can pick which one's useful for you. I think in theory you could have all of these set up on your device, but I can't really see any reason you'd want to. So you can just pick the ones that seem convenient to you and use them. There's one more I was going to tell you about, which is based on location. So I've got this set up on my phone, and you remember right at the start I showed you how if I turned off all the security I could unlock it just by swiping across the screen, and anyone could do that. Well, on my phone I've got it set up so it knows if I'm at home. And if I'm at home in my own house, then that's all you need to do to unlock it. And I've done it that way because if I'm at home, it's easier. It means if Julie wants to use my phone or anything, she doesn't have to ask me how to unlock it. And if we're at home, I'm happy for anyone to be able to do that. Once I leave the house, then it insists that I have to use the PIN or one of the other methods in order to unlock it. I haven't got it set up similarly at work because occasionally we get people coming in that we don't know, so I want to keep it secure at work. So that's another thing that you can do. You can just set a sort of safe location where you don't need to unlock it, where it stays unlocked. And you can set that up if that's something that you want to do. It's even cleverer than that though, because as well as doing it on a location, it can do it with devices, can't it?
Okay, so what kind of devices is it looking for? Is it like your fridge?
Not my fridge. I guess you probably can with some fridges now as well, but not mine because mine's not a fancy one. But you can set it up. For example, I've got it set up so that if I'm in my car, because my car has Bluetooth, and that's how I play music. I play it through the phone. All my music's stored on my phone, and I play it through the speakers on the car. Then, as long as Bluetooth is turned on my phone, it will know I'm in my car and recognise it, and therefore unlock it automatically.
Okay.
So I don't need to type the number in or whatever. Whereas if I go into another car that's got Bluetooth, it knows that that isn't the same car. I've also got it set up, we've got a little Bluetooth speaker at home, again, to play music through, and it'll recognise that as well and won't insist on the code if it's near that. In a way, that's a bit redundant because our home is somewhere that it considers safe anyway, but it means if we ever take the speaker to a friend's house or whatever, then it works there.
Okay, so again, the security is a little bit less because if somebody knew that, they could come and like grab your speaker.
Yeah, and if someone steals my car and my phone, when I'm in trouble, they can unlock my phone. I'm probably quite annoyed anyway
Yeah.
then. But
Yeah, so it's all about sort of assessing the risk and the chances of somebody finding Tim's house on his phone on a Bluetooth speaker and realising the two are connected. Oh, so watch this video.
that's okay because only Inner Circle members can watch
that's
this.
fine.
They're all honest.
Yeah.
It's not available to the public.
No, it's true. It's true. So yeah, I think as long as you're sensible about it and don't get too caught up in the like ultimate everything must be ultimately secure. As long as it's a kind of a compromise.
Yeah, getting the right level of security
Yeah.
for what you do. Right. So
So I think that's all of the kind of the fancier ways of unlocking your devices. We're going to take a quick pause and talk a little bit more about some of the other types of devices. Although we don't have any to show you, we're just going to mention that some bits exist. So we'll take a quick pause now, and we'll be right back. So the other thing that we wanted to talk about briefly were sort of different devices other than tablets and phones. So you might be familiar with a Windows login screen where you type your password in and hit enter. So they've brought something in called Windows Hello, and it's not available on all devices yet, hence the reason I'm not showing you it. But it allows you to use things, instead of a password, you might use a PIN code. Or you might even use, so for example, if your phone is linked to your laptop, when your phone comes within range, and I think it's Bluetooth again, your laptop will unlock because it knows that you're nearby.
So this is kind of the other way around. You're using your phone, but it's not your phone that's unlocking.
Yeah.
It's the PC or laptop or whatever.
Yeah, it's so that you don't have to pause to type in your password. It'll just be unlocked as you come near it. And then similar to the face unlock that we showed you earlier on the phones, it'll use the webcam in the top of your laptop to kind of to sort of detect when you're sat in front of it.
So to recognise your face again and say, yeah, this is the right person I should unlock for them.
Yeah, and I think again it's just so that it's a bit quicker to get in and a bit more. I think their aim is for like seamless logins, so that you're not thinking, oh, what's my password for this laptop and that kind of thing.
I suppose if you've got several devices, that could be quite useful because certainly here we've got several laptops running different versions of Windows, and I do sometimes find myself sitting down to work at one and going, which one's this? I can't remember the password for this. So it could be quite useful for things like that.
Oh, definitely.
Good. So, and there's another version of that I've heard of where it's another one where you draw on the screen, but instead of just drawing symbols in the dots like we showed you earlier, you have a picture appear on the screen and you draw something on top of the picture.
Oh, okay.
So like you might have a picture of yourself and you draw a moustache and sunglasses on with your finger if it's a touch screen, or a mouse if it's not. And the computer knows what you're supposed to be drawing, and as long as you get reasonably close to it, then it lets you in. And that's fairly secure because someone else wouldn't know what they're supposed to be drawing. They might not know that you're supposed to draw eyebrows and ears or whatever on the picture. Obviously, you don't have to get it exactly right because you might not draw it quite the same way each time. So I guess, again, that's probably medium level security, because if someone else saw you doing it, then they'd know.
Yeah, they could like try and film you doing it. But again, it's all about just being aware of your surroundings, and somebody could film you typing your password in. So it's all just about being sensible and
getting the right level for you,
and not worrying too much. But again, having some kind of login is the key thing.
Yeah, having something at least.
Something is better than nothing.
And whatever you've got, make sure you know the PIN as well, so that you always can get in if the other things fail. To be honest, with the drawing moustaches or whatever one, it's quite fun, but I think it would probably take as long as just typing in a password.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure it would be much of a game. There we go. So that's all about logging in, unlocking your phone or tablet, or a bit about your PC. Hopefully you found that interesting and useful. As I say, the idea isn't that you go away and set up all of these on all your devices. It's just that you know what the options are, so you can pick which ones are going to be easiest for you, and then choose the ones that you want to actually have and to set up. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that and found that useful.
Yeah, no, thanks for watching. I've certainly learnt I've certainly added a couple of things to, like, I'm going to keep Face Unlock, which I didn't have before we did this.
Yeah, so you set that up
yeah.
this morning, and I only set up the voice recognition on my phone this morning, and I think that's a useful thing as well.
Yeah.
So we've learned something.
Excellent.
Hopefully you found it useful as well. Thanks
Cheers.
for watching.